Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and I added another cool function to the MercedUI library, because something like a router, I mean technically createRotator, kind of work like a router where you could switch between different templates. The only issue I had with it is that they weren't necessarily very, like, you couldn't kind of make them be responsive to data changes and whatnot. So the pattern of using, instead of using a template, using a builder function that builds your template kind of allows for that sort of reactivity. So then I created a second version of the createRotator function called createBuildRotator that basically does the same thing, where you're passing in an object, but instead of an object of templates, you're passing in an object of builder functions. And basically you can then switch between those different builder functions. And the great thing is, again, those builder functions, they rebuild your template based on the current data that's available, so there's changes to the data that are reflected every time you switch between the different builds. So again, just depends what you want to do. You know, if you're planning to use a data store or store and you want to pass it around to different routes, then this createBuildRotator is probably a better option. If you just wanted to have a bunch of static templates and you want to be able to switch between them, kind of like, you know, you create a static website with static pages, then createRotator would probably work better. So let's do an example of createBuildRotator. So the first thing you need to do is create some build functions. So we'll do const build1 equals, okay, and then again, these builder functions, we always assume that we're passing in a store object, which is basically is like a state object. It's just a object with properties that have the data you want to use in the function. Okay, and basically we're just going to have, all this is going to do is return a string. In the string it'll just say h1. Okay, and we'll just say data store dot hello. Okay, and again, this can be as elaborate as you want, but for the sake of time, we're just making this pretty basic template. Okay, so those are function 1, function 2. Well, we'll create a couple more functions. So 1, 2, 3. So we'll make this 2. So that'll be an h2. And this one will be hbuild3. Cool. Cool. Now we're going to create our rotator. Create build rotator. Okay, let me just go back and take a look at the syntax for that. Back to the README. Create rotator. So it's create rotator, but this is create build rotator. Only difference is that create rotator, you would use a object with different templates. So this is just the static string, not a function that builds the string for you. Cool. So create rotator, we're just passing in the object and the element we're going to render to. Let me just go back to our HTML so we can see what we're going to render to. Where did my HTML index? Let's delete most of this stuff. I want to keep everything. We're just going to delete it all, and then grab a div. We only need one div, so I don't need to do any IDs or anything like that. Okay, cool. And there's the DOM. Dom. So let me go back to my app.js. Create build rotator, and again and then this is going to return us a function, so I need to do like const rotator equals create build rotator, and we're going to pass in an object. That object is going to have our 3 properties, our 3 builder functions. So build 1, build 2, build 3, and then we're going to pass in the DOM element. So we're going to do document.querySelector, and then we're attaching ourselves to that div. There we go. Okay, so basically this attaches this rotator to the div. So that means now I can switch between rendering any of these 3 templates to that DOM element. Nice. Okay, so save. Cool. Now that's all set up. And now let's say I want to create like a little nav bar. Well, let's go back to the HTML. Okay, so I'll just do it with some buttons just to keep it straightforward. So button, okay, on click. Okay, and we should have to create our store object. On click equals, or actually I can just do it here. On click, we're going to do rotator. Okay, rotator. Then we have to pass in a string. We'll pass in the string of build1. And then we have to pass in our store object. And our store object has to, well, in this case, we know that in our templates, we're looking for a property called hello, so that's the only property I have to really put in there. So I'm going to just say hello equals hello world. Okay. And there it goes. So now we'll just close off the button. So this will be 1. Then we close the button. Then I'll hit, we'll just change these to build 2, build 3. Then we'll hit save, and let's open this up in the browser. So that's this one right here, show in the file manager, index.html, open with Google Chrome. Okay, we see the 3 buttons. Oh, I didn't change the name of the buttons. 2, 3, save. So I hit 1, hello world. And there's hello world as an H2, and hello world as an H3. Oh, I need to refresh so that way the buttons change. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so basically the rotator just allows you to spin through all that object of those different views. So imagine that you could create literally full pages. So you just create a builder function that literally renders like a full-on template for all sorts of stuff going on. You create all the builder functions for all the different pages on your website, and then you can just rotate them here. And then since each time you pass in this object, so you could have, you know, you could have sort of one store object that has all your data for your website theoretically. So you could have a global store, a global state, by just having one object called store and store all your properties in there and just keep passing them into this. And as the data changes, everything just re-renders with the updated data. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so that's something you can do with the rotator. So just with the createBuildRotator, you could easily create a single page website, kind of use this as a router between your different pages, and because you're using the builder function and you're passing in the store object every time you run the rotator, if you created just one store object and you just always passed it in, it would always just have sort of whatever data you're working with in this situation. So it's just another way of using the MercedUI library. So again, just different, instead of just creating one path and creating one structure for how to do things, there's just a lot of these functions and tools here that give you different ways to kind of achieve similar results, but you know, you might find one tool sort of more useful than another, or one way of doing it better than another, just giving you the tools. So my name is Alex Merced from Alex Merced Coder. Again, the library is called the MercedUI library. So you can go check it out over there at GitHub. Okay, so let me go back to the README. Okay, so that's the MercedUI library. And it's pretty easy. You just literally copy this into a script tag, and you have access to all these functions. You have access to all of it. Okay, and I've made all these videos showing you how each of them work, and you even got to watch me make the kind of mistakes, the rookie mistakes of using the library, so that way you don't have to make those mistakes. So go try it out. Tell me what you think. Would love feedback, and have a great day.